Hi guys, it's Mike here from the Music Workshop, and I'm doing a follow-up video to my previous lesson, which was on the double paradiddle. Now, the problem with a YouTube video is you have a choice to make when you're making it as to how much detail to put in, how much time to spend on each particular step, and you really have to balance it quite delicately between giving too much info and people getting bored and not being interested in watching, or not giving enough info and people getting lost and not getting any value out of it. So the last video hit on about 15 minutes, which is probably 5 minutes longer than you really want it to be, but there's a lot to cover. There's an awful lot of information in there, and even at that, there was parts of it that I just basically told you what I was doing and then did it rather than break it down enough. So one of those parts was actually playing the double paradiddle and what that all meant. Now, for someone who's never done it before, that's a huge step, and that's what this lesson is going to be about. It's about going from someone who's never played a double paradiddle before to someone who can play it pretty proficiently, because there's a huge difference between being able to play paradiddles and being able to play double paradiddles. Not because there's a huge technical jump, but because the number of strokes changes, and that can be really hard to understand unless it's explained in a way that you get. And if you truly understand it, and if the explanation is concrete in your head, then playing it's not that hard. Getting good at playing it can be, because the feel difference between double paradiddles and a rock beat is pretty big. Because if you think about it, even if a rock beat's been played in quavers, you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, so you've only got 8 hits on the hi-hats, and then when you switch to the double paradiddles, you've got 24 hits. So it's literally it's a 300% rise in hit rate within the bar, if that makes sense. So you go from hitting 8 times on the hi-hat to hitting 24 times on whatever surface you're playing your double paradiddles on, and that rise in the amount of hits that you have to do can put people off, can make them feel like I've sped up, and then when you try and go back into the rock beat, it feels like you've slowed down. So the first thing you want to understand is a double paradiddle. The sticking is very, very straightforward. If you understand what a paradiddle is, understanding a double paradiddle is quite simple. The para of a paradiddle is a single and the diddle is a double. There's like a hair, I'm very sorry, but there's like a hair blinding me right now. It's weird. So, as I was just saying before that hair attacked me, the para of a paradiddle is singles and the diddle is a double. So, if that is the explanation of it that makes sense to you, then a double paradiddle is like 2 paras. So, single, single, double. Okay? So, that will help you keep your sticking correct pretty much all the way through your learning on this. Single, single, double, single, single, double, single, single, double, single, single, double. Okay? So let's work on that for the time being. Right? So right, left, right, left, right, right is the first half of the double paradiddle, and left, right, left, right, left, left. That's what we're looking for. Right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. If you've only got the one practice pad, then find the edge of it, or find a table beside it, or something that isn't going to get damaged by playing, and get 2 different sounds so you can hear which hand is playing. It's important that you have those 2 different sounds so you can hear what sounds correct and what doesn't, because if you're all on the same pad, you might as well play singles for what it sounds like. Technically what I'm doing now is correct, but when I make a mistake, I won't be able to hear that I'm making a mistake, and you can end up playing your mistake way, way longer than you should. When you can hear mistakes very, very quickly, that means you get rid of them a lot quicker. Okay, so let's count how many hits we have in a double paradiddle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 hits, so we can't replay it in semiquavers. Semiquavers hit 4 times in each beat. Now we need to hit 6 times in each beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What has 6 subdivisions in a beat. Well, crotchets have 1, quavers have 2, triplet quavers have 3, semiquavers have 4, so triplet semiquavers have 6. And how we count triplets is 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. That's how I count them. Different drummers have different methods of counting their triplets. Some will count them evenly, evenly. Some people say, oh, just use a 3-syllable word. The reason I go for 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a is because I was originally taught evenly, and that was great. It worked perfectly for me until I started doing drums in college, and they started telling us, oh, you need to do 7 triplets. So I was like, cool, 1 and a, evenly, how many have I done? And I had no idea how much I'd done, so I had to reteach myself and go, okay, no, the evenly is not going to work. So I started going 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, and that was 7 because the first bar had 4 and then the second bar had 3. So that's how I figured it out. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to learn how to count triplet semiquavers, because our triplets are 1 and a, but with semiquavers we need to go twice, so it's 1 and a, 1 and a. Okay, that's 6 hits. 1 and a, 1 and a. Now the reason we don't go 1 and a, 2 and a is because all of that's in 1. So if we skip to 2, then we're using 2 still on the first beat, which makes it all very confusing. So if we say 1 and a, 1 and a for the first triplet semiquaver, then it's 2 and a, 2 and a for the second one, 3 and a, 3 and a for the third one, and 4 and a, 4 and a for the fourth one. It all comes together. So just playing singles, mind you, we're going to play triplet semiquavers. 1, 2, 3, 4, all on your pad. 1 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 4 and a. Try with me. 2, 3, 4. 1 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 4 and a. This time you on your own. 2, 3, 4, go. 1 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 4 and a, stop. Okay, so that's triplet semiquavers. Now that you're able to play them nice and confidently, you're going to do your double paradiddle with triplet semiquavers. 1 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 4 and a. Now you may need to slow this way down in order to get it right. But remember, the first time you play something, you have to play it as fast as you can, correctly. And that last word is the most important word of that sentence. It doesn't matter how fast you can play something. If you're getting it wrong, it's just wrong. It doesn't matter how little you're getting it wrong, it's still wrong. So what you want to do is play it as fast as you can, correctly. And that, on your first attempt, is going to be slower than you ever played it before. Okay? If you're making mistakes, slow it down more. If you're still making mistakes, slow it down more. You slow it down to the point where you're not making mistakes anymore. 1 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 4 and a. Just get it right. Don't worry about speed. Speed will come in time. You're trying to get your sticking pattern correct, which has nothing to do with speed. Speed hurts it, okay? The only reason you'll make mistakes here is A, you don't understand it properly. If that's the case, go back and start watching the start of the video again, because you need to explain it to you a little bit more, okay? And if watching the video doesn't help, send me a message and say, Mike, I don't really understand the way you explained it. There's lots of ways to explain this. And in a one-to-one lesson with your teacher, a good teacher will give you all those different options until you get what I call the aha moment. As one of my really smart students says, oh, your eureka moment. And I was like, yes, but eureka is not that high up in my vocabulary. So I call it the aha moment. When you go, aha, now I get it. Okay, so understanding is when you get to the aha. Ability is a week later, after you've practiced it for the whole week and you've taken your understanding and you've worked it through to your hands until it becomes ability. Now, you get frustrated, and drummers in general get frustrated, when you misunderstand the difference between understanding and ability. You see, if you understand something, when you make a mistake, you'll know it's a mistake. when you don't understand something, you won't even notice that mistake. You're in blissful ignorance. But if you truly understand something, when you make a mistake, you'll know it. And you'll see these guys like pulling the most awful faces when they make a mistake, like, oh God, and they're really hating themselves. But the fact of the matter is, they're doing everything right because they truly understand what they're doing and they've noticed their mistake. So they're getting mad at themselves for doing the right thing. They found their mistake. Now all they have to do is realise that's not an indictment on them because they're practicing, and all they have to do now is work on that pattern until it's something they can fix. It's really, really that simple. So you're going to work on your double paradiddles in triplet semiquaver form until you're able to play them nice and confidently to a click. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to accompany that pattern with a foot pattern, with the bass drum hitting on 1, the hi-hats on 2, bass drum on 3, and hi-hats on 4. So you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If you can do it and you're comfortable doing it, then what I want you to do is add in a rock beat in between. The reason we're doing the rock beat is not because you need to practice the rock beat, it's because being able to play this in isolation is no good to you. You need to be able to apply it to your play. And your rock beat is a really good example of you just playing. You can just play the rock beat. So if you can go from the rock beat into your double paradiddle fill and then back into the rock beat, then you're doing really well. I'm going to start out with a bar of the rock beat.